ist Berlin.
Bin ein Berliner.
Wie es weint und wie es lacht.
We continue My Berlin with our guest Sebastian Bieniek. He grew up in Poland and nowadays he's one of Berlin's best-known conceptual artists. We meet him in his studio, which is located in Friedrichshain, one of Berlin's most alternating districts.
I know there will come a phase, but I don't know which. And until I don't...
We are here to find out what connection he has to our capital.
When I was 18, I came for the very first time to Berlin. It was the very first time that I was in Berlin. It was like I came to Zoo with a friend of mine. I lived at that time near to Hanover. And we came to Berlin, and Berlin was all like zoo, and you know, okay, we knew the movie Berlin Zoo with David Bowie. And it was like, oh, zoo, the drugs, and the music, and David Bowie, and we came out of the train and asked people, where's the gallery, where's the gallery? And I had a few photographs of mine in my hand, and they say there, and the next day there, and the next day there. So after 2 hours, we were in front of a small place, and there was written gallery, and I looked inside, there was nothing, you know, like small pictures on the wall, and nobody inside, but there was an old man in behind, and the secretary in front. I sat down, I said, hello, I'm coming from a village near to Hanover. I want to be artist, can you check my work? I said, oh, no, please not.
So he wasn't very happy.
No, because the galleries never are, because, you know, like 100 people come, and then he checked it. He said to me, you know, better you go out, you find a girl, you make a lot of kids, and you make a normal job. But if you don't do it, come in 5 years back to me. And I didn't do like he did, and I think that was wrong. But later I realized that this man was Rudolf Springer, who unfortunately died a few years later, but he was the Berlin gallerist legend.
Rudolf Springer died 2009 after he turned 100 years old. He was the manager of Berlin's first gallery after the Second World War. The gallery was called Gerd Rosen. It opened on the 9th of August in 1945 and was located on the west side at the Kurfürstendamm 215. The gallery closed 1962, and what remained is a memorial plaque on the facade.
I never wanted to become artist, and people think that I have a lot of passion for art. I don't have passion for art at all, really, at all. I would like to have another job, to make something else. Unfortunately, I never had the choice, so I always came back, always in my life I came back to the position, okay, I'm an artist, I have to do it.
Planned or not planned, Sebastian created an image and his work is much in demand. To enjoy the beginning of the fall, Sebastian suggested to have a walk through the Mauerpark. It has been almost 10 years since he came here the last time.
So you haven't been here in almost 10 years. Do you think it has changed? Is it the same place like it was before?
It changed a little, because when I lived here there was no Flohmarkt, which is now very huge, and I think the biggest Flohmarkt in Berlin.
Mm-hmm. The flea market.
Yes, the flea market, and there was a lot of people, and it was more silent, and I think that especially because of the Flohmarkt, because you have now also pubs around this area, coffees, and it was less
crowded.
Less crowded, yes. And also, I don't know why, but this was cutted. This is strange that it's not. It's the first time that it looks a little bit forgotten at the same time.
Do you actually know some of the history of the Mauerpark here in Berlin?
No, tell me. No.
I don't know that much, but I definitely know before in the 1800 it wasn't even part of the city, and then later
The park
on
is located on the grounds along the former East German border to West Berlin that made up the Berlin Wall. The wall split Berlin from 1961 to 1989 into two halves. Here, around the area of the Mauerpark, the central memorial site of the Berlin Wall is located. The memorial contains the last pieces of the wall, and it extends along 1.4 kilometers of the former border strip. This is why the park is called today Mauerpark. A friendly public park surrounded by a lot of bars and restaurants.
What is your connection to Berlin? Is it that Berlin chose you, or is it that you chose the city to stay here?
Well, when I started to study art, it was in Braunschweig, which is a city in the middle of Germany now. And it was like a common feeling and common, yes, everybody knew that you have to go at a certain point to Berlin. And everybody I have studied with is living now in Berlin. So it was like a rule. Everything what you can imagine, everything what I can imagine, I made in Berlin more or less. I mean, what I can imagine to do, because what I can imagine to do, I have done.
So what are your favorite places here in the city? Where do you like to go? What do you like to do in your spare time?
Well, this place I like, where we have been at this time, and I mean it's always different because, you know, it's like it's never general in Berlin. That's very nice. That's why I think that the city is always kind of private, because you always have to make the decision new, and it's always like a call. When you feel you have to go here, when I feel I have to go here, I go here, and when I feel I should go to another nice place, which is, for example, I have a few nice places as a Tempelhofer Flughafen, Tempelhof Airport, then I go there, but it's always different and it's always changes, and that's really what I like so much at Berlin, and why I think that the city is special, because it is never like it was. Always a movement, yes. I mean, when I came to Berlin, I lived in Prenzlauer Berg, Kollwitzstraße, and it was a really nice place like 20 years before, with a nice energy. Now the energy around Kollwitzplatz completely changed. Then I went to...
in a positive or a negative way?
Well, it compares. I mean, when you have two kids, a good job, it's a nice place. For artists, I don't think so. Then I moved to Kreuzberg. I think Kreuzberg was, in a way, very nice place to artists. But for me, it's time to move again. So I think that I will move. I'm actually planning to move to Friedrichshain again.
Where your studio is as well.
Because my studio is there, yes, and because I just want to keep it together, just not to...
So you like the changes, not only in your work, but as well in your private life?
Well, if you ask me, I would say I don't like, but I have to do. Or, I mean, it makes sense, or it's time to make changes. I think that it's something very interesting, and it's something mythological in this, because why do people change? Why do people believe that something new is necessary? You know, it's very interesting, because
it's like what we had before. It's always the one eye that wants to go out. You think there's something in common?
Yes, I think so. Yes, you know, in South America, was a culture where in South America it was common that people made cities and left the cities to build another city, and nobody knew why they left it. But in a way it makes sense, because we do it also, that we build city and move away just because we want to build a new city, because we want to do something, because we want to create a job for ourselves. So I think it's also a lot about Berlin, that people do things because they want to create jobs for themselves. And for me as an artist, of course, I need to create always a job for myself, and always the surrounding of mine, my flat, what I see for every day is also inspiration for me. So if I want to change my work, I have to change the inspiration.
That's a very good point.
Talking about changes, unfortunately Sebastian has another appointment that he needs to attend. But before he leaves, he takes us to his favorite viewing platform here at the Mauerpark.
Unfortunately, we are already at the end of our episode My Berlin with Sebastian Bieniek. I was very happy to have the opportunity to present you this very famous and super artist here in Berlin. I hope I'm going to see you in the next episode of My Berlin.
Es ist Berlin, wie es weint und wie es lacht.
Ich bin ein Berliner.